Many people are unaware of Peter Fonda's sacrifices behind the scenes of his picture Easy Rider, which became a defining emblem of the counterculture. Fonda paid the team while traveling and working on a tight budget, which is uncommon in Hollywood. Why did he feel compelled to provide financial support? Was it a declaration of independence, devotion, or something else? Come along as we reveal the backstory of Peter Fonda's dedication to Easy Rider's historic voyage. Fighting over the writing credits. There was much debate around Easy Rider's writing credits, particularly among its authors. Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda were not pleased that Terry Southern was formally given credit for creating the screenplay by Writers Guild regulations. Hopper was especially outspoken, claiming to have written every line and directed every scene, even going so far as to declare, "I made that movie, period." He said Southern had contributed tiny, primarily only the film's title, which sparked a contentious debate. The tension was further highlighted by reports that Fonda signed a contract admitting he hadn't written any of the material. With Hopper's annoyance over the distribution of credit being ingrained in the film's legacy, this debate brought to light the creative disputes behind the scenes of this counterculture classic. The argument continues to be a pivotal moment in Easy Rider's history, highlighting the fierce emotional and professional tensions that can develop in the film industry. Rip Torn almost had the part. Although he wasn't the first option, Jack Nicholson's portrayal of George Hanson in Easy Rider became one of his breakthrough roles. At first, Rip Torn was a possibility for the part, but they had second thoughts after a strange altercation. Dennis Hopper claims that after meeting with Torn for dinner to talk about the part, Torn allegedly grabbed a knife during a fight, so eliminating his chances of landing the part. However, Torn provided a completely different account, asserting that Hopper was the one who wielded the knife. This contradictory tale gained notoriety and gave the movie an air of drama off-screen. The odd meeting with Torn is still one of the movie's lesser-known incidents, even though Nicholson eventually took over and gave a remarkable performance. This episode demonstrates how casting choices in Hollywood are erratic and tense, with even a single unforeseen event having the power to change a project's trajectory. The drugs were very real. Drug usage was a significant element in Easy Rider, which is famous for encapsulating the counterculture spirit of the 1960s on and off screen. The actors claimed that the drugs they saw on screen were frequently natural, and many scenes show persons abusing different substances. Each member of the cast had their preferences, according to Peter Fonda. Nicholson liked marijuana, Hopper drank, and the crew occasionally tried psychedelics. Fonda explained that although there was real marijuana usage on site, the scenes involving cocaine and LSD were manufactured to keep things under control while filming. The film's genuine atmosphere was enhanced by this blending of staged and actual drug use, which represented the time's lax attitude regarding these narcotics. These real-life drug encounters gave the protagonist's experiences a rawness that engrossed viewers in the late 1960s cultural uprising at a level never seen before. A rushed trip to New Orleans. A scheduling issue almost ruined the movie's famous Mardi Gras sequences. Producers Bert Schneider and Bob Rafelson had given Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda an initial $40,000 to shoot the scenes, with the understanding that they would provide further money if they were happy with the footage. Fonda, however, made a last-minute rush to New Orleans after miscalculating the Mardi Gras dates. Due to time constraints and a lack of licenses, the crew turned to guerrilla filmmaking. Every team member received a leased camera and was told to record as much video as possible before being asked to depart. This hurried filming style enhanced the scene's frenetic intensity, complementing Easy Rider's impulsive, rebellious vibe. The Mardi Gras video, which captured the festival's excitement in a lucid, unrefined manner, ended up being some of the most memorable parts of the movie despite the practical difficulties. Fonda used his mother for inspiration. A personal area for Peter Fonda is the inspiration for one of the movie's most impactful scenes. When he was just 10 years old, his mother, Frances Ford Seymour, sadly committed suicide. For a particularly moving sequence, Dennis Hopper encouraged Fonda to draw on his suffering while filming in New Orleans' St. Louis Cemetery. After some hesitation, Fonda gave in and found himself talking to a statue on top of a tomb as if he was talking to his deceased mother. Because Fonda's attachment to the subject is evident, the resulting scene is brimming with unfiltered emotion. This scene, which combines Fonda's actual suffering with his character's journey, is generally considered among the most poignant in the movie. The sequence was authenticated by Hopper's support and Fonda's vulnerability, which made an impression on viewers that lasted. It's a moving reminder that performers occasionally use their suffering to produce robust and memorable portrayals. The film was plagued. Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper acknowledged that they had repeatedly fallen off their motorcycles while filming. At one point, the camera car crew also had an accident. Given that the movie was about a motorcycle road trip, a few accidents were unavoidable. It appeared to have affected Fonda the most. While in the hospital after being treated for pneumonia, he was found to have had 3 shattered ribs. This was because Nicholson was in the chopper behind him, his legs protruding into Fonda's back. They almost blew it. In a pivotal scene toward the film's conclusion, Wyatt and Billy sit around a campfire debating the significance of their voyage across America. The crew discovered they had neglected to record this crucial sequence 2 weeks after the shoot. The cast and crew had to make a makeshift camp to film the missing sequence in the Santa Monica Mountains. Fonda persuaded Hopper to just shoot him, saying, "We blew it," despite his plans regarding the farewell address. "Look out the window," Fonda responded years later when asked what those remarks meant. "If you don't think we've blown it, you've got to take a closer look." Hippies were not welcome. In the movie, Billy and Wyatt, 2 protagonists, encountered discrimination because they're hippies. They were chased away and barred from locations along the route to New Orleans because of their long hair and clothing, which made them targets. When the actors wore their costumes in public, people in the street fled from them during filming. After Dennis Hopper heard stories of hippies being brutally attacked in the southern states, they avoided driving through Texas since they encountered a lot of hate in New Orleans. They were meant to survive. Wyatt and Billy's first destiny had been happy, with the 2 riders utilizing the funds to purchase a boat and set sail into the sunset. At least Dennis Hopper came up with the concept for them. Peter Fonda and Terry Southern had different plans. Southern and Fonda persuaded Hopper that the characters' deaths at the end were the only way they could resist intolerance and hatred. This was an appropriate conclusion for 2 free spirits who ultimately realized they cannot circumvent the system. They were pretty happy campers. There was a lot of improvisation on the sets of Easy Rider, regarded as being at the vanguard of experimental cinema. Hopper and Fonda lived in a camper van as the cast and crew spent 12 weeks traveling the nation. Always dressed in character, the main actors would pull over, bring out their bikes, and begin filming wherever they found a suitable location. The conversation and settings were nearly always improvised, but the scenes themselves were always thought out. Hopper's temper was legendary. Because of his notorious anger, Dennis Hopper worked on indie films and was banned from many Hollywood studios. In one instance, he became irate when an executive recommended that Hopper take acting classes at a meeting with Columbia Pictures. Columbia banned the actor, and shortly after he signed with Warner Brothers. He was also blacklisted from that studio due to his altercation with the director. Because of his alcoholism, Hopper became paranoid and accused others of attempting to ruin his efforts. He tried to show off his skills to the general public with Easy Rider. The original film was 3 hours long. Dennis Hopper sat with over 80 hours of material after the film was shot. He had to cut it down, and the actor said he spent over a year editing, although sources would later claim that it had only been 5 months. Hopper was on vacation for the editing process, and Henry Jaglom, an editorial consultant, was brought in to help. Hopper was unsatisfied and said his film had been wrecked, even though Jaglom could reduce it to 95 minutes, which is still long for a film. The last nail in the coffin of his and Fonda's friendship would be claiming the movie was his. Disputes over the bike builders. Ben Hardy and Clifford Sonny Voss designed and constructed the famous choppers that Billy and Wyatt rode in the movie. 40 years later, Dennis Hopper would credit them for contributing to the Easy Rider DVD's commentary. What Peter Fonda gave for years was very different from his knowledge. He asserted that he constructed both the motorcycles seen in the movie. Additionally, he stated that 5 Watts males assisted him in building them and that he purchased the materials from the LA Police Department. The soundtrack was unique. It was practically unheard of at the time to use radio music in a movie. Orchestral music was more frequently used as the soundtrack for the film. Hopper used music that was playing on the radio at the time because he wanted his movie to look like a time capsule of sorts. However, not every musician was thrilled to contribute their music to the movie. Bob Dylan was unwilling to let them use It's All Right, Ma, and instead created Ballad of Easy Rider for them, whereas Steppenwolf gladly lent their song Born to Be Wild for $1,000. However, they objected to having their name appear in the credits because they didn't like how the movie ended. Hopper's pitch was impressive. Before the film was even in production, Dennis Hopper discovered the work of cinematographer Laszlo Kovacs. Hopper called Kovacs, well known for producing low-budget motorcycle movies, to offer his help, armed only with the script. At first, the cinematographer declined because he no longer wanted to do the same types of films. Not to be deterred, Dennis Hopper threw the script into the air and yelled, "I don't want you to worry about the script. I'm going to tell you what the movie's about." He then acted out the entire movie in Fred of Kovacs. They traveled with a convertible. Easy Rider had a very rigid and constrained budget. The actors and crew had to make $400,000 work for the movie's duration. As a result, they needed to be quite inventive in creating their camera car. Renting a typical camera car would cost up to $200 per day. To serve as the camera car for all motorbike footage, cinematographer Laszlo Kovacs purchased a 1968 Chevy Impala convertible. The camera was put on plywood secured with sandbags, and the automobile was driven with the top down. The production saved much money because of this highly creative vehicle. Easy Rider was made for the youth. The fact that Easy Rider broke the cinematic mold was evident both then and now. Dennis Hopper created a movie that he thought the young people of that time would enjoy, even if it had a terrible ending. At a time when Hollywood was producing movies with happy endings, Hollywood was making movies like Pillow Talk, Beach Blanket Bingo, and The Glass-Bottom Boat, according to Peter Fonda, who told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, "We made a movie for those people that didn't have their movie." Jack Nicholson didn't need convincing. Jack Nicholson had previously starred in Hell's Angels on Wheels, another motorcycle movie, before playing George Hansen in 1969's Easy Rider. In an interview with Film Comment, Nicholson acknowledged that he thought the movie would be a hit immediately because the moment for the biker film had come. Nicholson had been working with Bob Rafelson on the musical Head, which starred the Monkees, before Hopper and Fonda approached him about the role. Nicholson was sure this bike movie would be as popular as his last one, as Rafelson would finance Easy Rider. Peter Fonda wanted Dennis Hopper fired. Tensions between Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda were intense before Easy Rider started significant production. Despite Hopper's importance to the film, Fonda was dissatisfied with his erratic behavior, which created a complicated relationship. The two had first obtained funding from producers Bert Schneider and Bob Rafelson to film the Mardi Gras scene. However, Hopper later claimed that Fonda had contemplated paying the producers back and then had him taken off the movie. Even before the script was finished, there was a tense environment on set due to this simmering dispute caused by artistic disagreements and conflicting personalities. Despite these early problems, Hopper eventually persisted, and the movie became a cultural sensation. However, this early conflict hinted at a relationship that would continue to be complicated and occasionally adversarial, as they collaborated to make Easy Rider a reality. Fonda and Hopper fought over money. Throughout the creation of Easy Rider, Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper frequently had financial disagreements, which exacerbated their already emotional issues. Since Terry Southern had previously requested that his name be removed from credits, the two decided to split half the movie's earnings after he left. Disagreements, however, increased when Fonda agreed to separate some of his profits with the production firm and Hopper's brother-in-law, Bill Hayward, who was the film's associate producer. Hopper believed that Fonda and Hayward were plotting against him until his death and considered this a betrayal. Hopper's persistent mistrust of Fonda was mirrored in this feeling of being undercut, underscoring the complex emotional and financial conflicts between them that clouded the movie's success. Ultimately, one of the many controversial elements of Easy Rider's production process was their financial disagreements. Henry Fonda just didn't get it. Henry Fonda, Peter Fonda's famed father, is well known for his parts in Battle of the Bulge, The Grapes of Wrath, On Golden Pond, and Jesse James. The renowned actor was quite worried when he saw an early edit of his son's movie. Peter Fonda claims that following the screening, he visited Henry and inquired about his thoughts on Easy Rider. He replied, "Look, son, I know your eggs are in this basket, and I'm worried about it because the film is inaccessible. We don't see where you're going and why. I just don't think many people will get it." Join the Easy Rider movie motorcycle tour. To commemorate Easy Rider's 50th anniversary in 2019, a unique movie tour was planned for the film's wealthy fans who were strongly interested in motorbikes. The luxurious 15-day cruise, which cost between $4,300 and $7,700, traveled a whopping 2,589 miles. The movie's famous settings, including Los Angeles, Death Valley, Colorado, and New Orleans, were traversed by fans. With Sony Pictures working together to validate the locations across the route, the experience was painstakingly crafted. Through this immersive experience, viewers could follow the film's iconic road trip across the United States and explore the locations that contributed to Easy Rider's status as a seminal work of American cinema. Riders connected with other fans who shared their passion for the famous bikes and the film's rebellious attitude while reliving some of the most memorable moments from the movie. This once-in-a-lifetime chance was a genuine pilgrimage for many fans to commemorate Easy Rider's cultural influence on motorcycle, culture, and film. The Tale of the Captain America Bikes. Easy Rider's iconic motorcycles, particularly the Captain America chopper, have long been the focus of discussion and fascination. The iconic bikes are credited to Peter Fonda and Clifford Vos, who worked as a mechanic on the movie and claims to have designed and built them. Vaughn was fired off the set. Even though he was involved, his name never appeared in the movie's credits. The bikes rose to fame, especially the Captain America bike, which was notable for its unique style and eye-catching paint job. Before the last sequences were filmed, 3 of the 4 motorcycles used for filming were stolen as the production continued. Fortunately, the latter scenes did not require these bikes. However, the 4th bike sustained damage at the location of the notorious collision, but was eventually fixed and brought back to its former splendor. Unexpectedly, this legendary bike sold for an incredible $1.35 million to a collector, solidifying its status in motorcycling culture and movie history. The sequel was ignored. A legal dispute over the rights to an Easy Rider sequel broke out in 2012. An Ohio lawyer, Phil Pitzer, filed a lawsuit after learning that the right to continue the franchise was available. He did this because he didn't want the original producers, Bert Schneider and Bob Rafelson, to claim them. Before the producers acted, Pitzer sought to obtain the rights. Following the settlement of the lawsuit, Pitzer engaged Dustin Reichert to helm the prequel to the original movie, Easy Rider: The Ride Back. However, there were significant obstacles to the initiative. The film didn't resonate with viewers because it didn't feature any original cast or crew and lacked the distinct vibe that made Easy Rider a cultural landmark. The Ride Back, which was released directly to DVD, failed to recreate the charm of the original and was a critical failure. Even though there was some initial enthusiasm about the possibility of a sequel, this attempt was soon forgotten. Easy Rider's legacy remained uncontested, maintaining the original as the seminal work of counterculture filmmaking. Filming the incredible motorcycle shots. Legendary cinematographer Laszlo Kovacs accompanied Easy Rider to assist in producing the classic images of motorcyclists throughout the United States. In an interview with Movie Maker, Kovacs revealed the techniques used to locate and capture some iconic sites. Kovacs claims they would all travel together in a camper van with a couple of pickups, stopping and shooting anytime they came upon a noteworthy spot. An assistant cameraman assisted Kovacs in holding the equipment as he focused and zoomed. Peter Fonda paid the crew himself. Easy Rider was made on a tight budget of just $400,000, necessitating innovative ways to pay for necessary expenses. Even though it made an astounding $60 million in the end, money was scarce during production, and it was always difficult to pay the staff. Peter Fonda took over to ensure everyone was paid, frequently using his funds to keep the project going. A film historian, John Barra, claims that Fonda regularly paid for crew food, lodging, and gas with his credit cards. The personal financial risks Fonda took to finish the film are highlighted in Barra's book, Declarations of Independence, American Cinema, and the Partiality of Independent Production. His readiness to pay for these costs showed his commitment to the project and to helping the actors and crew. Ultimately, Fonda's services helped the picture succeed and leave a lasting legacy in independent filmmaking by keeping spirits up on site and ensuring the production stayed on schedule. They had a small crew and heavy equipment. With only 12 crew members working on the project, Easy Rider's tight budget impacted the production setup. Numerous crew members, such as cinematographer Laszlo Kovacs, had previously worked on movies like Hell's Angels and had experience filming biker flicks. The team needed to be adaptable and creative to manage the demanding filming requirements. Therefore, this experience was essential. During cross-country filming, the cast and crew lived together in a camper van that served as their mobile base. 2 enormous 5-ton trucks carrying 4 motorcycles, bulky halogen lights, and a 750-amp generator, a need for supplying electricity to equipment in isolated areas, accompanied them. They also turned a Chevy Impala convertible into a makeshift camera car to get dynamic images of the motorcyclists. Notwithstanding these limited resources, their collaboration and creative methods enabled them to create the film's genuine and realistic visual aesthetic, which was crucial in establishing the groundbreaking look of the movie. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon